Please like, share and subscribe. The Wrath of Emir Al-Mansur. The fearsome attacker of Europe in the 11th century. In the 11th century, the Iberian Peninsula became a fierce battleground where Christian and Muslim forces clashed in cycles of conquest and retaliation. Among the many leaders of this period, one name stood out for his cruelty and relentless ambition: Al-Mansur Ibn Abi Aamir, or Almanzor, a powerful military leader of the Umayyad Caliphate of Córdoba. His campaigns were infamous for their brutality, leaving behind a legacy of terror across Christian Europe. Born in the late 10th century, Al-Mansur rose to power in Al-Andalus as the de facto ruler of the caliphate. Under his leadership, Al-Andalus reached its military zenith. However, it was his merciless campaigns against the Christian kingdoms to the north that earned him both fear and hatred. His raids, often marked by unspeakable acts of cruelty, became a defining feature of his rule. One of the most harrowing episodes attributed to Al-Mansur was his infamous raid on Santiago de Compostela in 997. Santiago, home to the shrine of St. James, was one of the most sacred sites in Christendom. The city was not just a religious symbol but also a beacon of Christian resistance against Muslim dominance. Al-Mansur saw it as the perfect target for a devastating blow. With a vast and disciplined army, Al-Mansur marched northward, burning villages and enslaving their inhabitants along the way. Entire towns were laid waste as his forces swept through the countryside. When they reached Santiago, the city was left vulnerable, its defenders outnumbered and ill-prepared. Al-Mansur's troops overran the city, looting its treasures and slaughtering anyone who dared resist. The Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela, the heart of the city, was utterly destroyed. Its holy relics were desecrated, and the once thriving pilgrimage site was left in ruins. To humiliate the Christians further, Al-Mansur ordered the church bells, symbols of Christian worship, to be taken down and transported to Córdoba. These bells were melted down and transformed into oil lamps for the Great Mosque of Córdoba, a deliberate act of religious and cultural domination. But Al-Mansur's cruelty didn't stop at looting and destruction. His campaigns were marked by the systematic torture of captives. Survivors of the Santiago raid described how prisoners were paraded back to Córdoba in chains, many of them dying from starvation, exhaustion, or harsh treatment along the way. Those who survived were either sold into slavery or executed as a display of power. These acts of terror were not isolated. Over the course of his career, Al-Mansur led more than 50 campaigns against Christian territories, each marked by similar brutality. Cities like Leon and Zamora suffered the same fate as Santiago, with their populations massacred and their wealth plundered. His relentless aggression kept the Christian kingdoms on the defensive, unable to mount a united front against him. For Al-Mansur, cruelty was not just a tool of war, it was a statement of dominance. By targeting religious symbols and inflicting maximum suffering, he sought to break the spirit of his enemies and ensure the supremacy of Al-Andalus. Yet his tactics also sowed seeds of resentment and resistance. His reign of terror became a rallying cry for Christian leaders, fueling the Reconquista, the centuries-long effort to reclaim the Iberian Peninsula. Al-Mansur's death in 1002 marked the end of an era, but his legacy endured. The fear he instilled and the scars he left on Europe's collective memory cemented his reputation as one of the most ruthless figures of the medieval period. To this day, his name evokes images of destruction and domination, a stark reminder of the brutality of the 11th century. Please like, share and subscribe.